In 1993, a paleontologist in a dusty denim shirt basically stared down a T-Rex and just completely rewrote the rules of what an action hero could look like.
He really did.
Right. Like, he didn't have bulging biceps. He didn't have some massive machine gun. He just had this quiet, totally undeniable competence.
Yeah, that quiet competence was his whole signature.
Exactly. I'm talking, of course, about Dr. Alan Grant. And today, Monday, July 13th, 2026, we are navigating some breaking news that has sent a very real shockwave through the global film community.
Yeah, it's a tough day.
It is. The legendary actor who brought that character to life, Sam Neill, has passed away at the age of 78.
It is just a profound loss for the medium. I mean, when you look at the landscape of modern cinema over, the last 40 years, it is structurally difficult to even imagine it without his steady, grounding presence.
Yeah.
We are looking at a career that defied almost every conventional rule of the entertainment industry.
Which is exactly why you and I are diving into this today. We've pulled together this comprehensive stack of sources to try and make sense of his legacy for you.
Right, because there's a lot to cover.
There really is. We are looking at detailed retrospective articles on his cinematic impact, some really comprehensive coverage of his recent health journey from The Guardian.
Which is a huge piece of this story.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, we've got some incredibly raw industry reactions compiled by the LA Times, and we were tracking legacy updates from URBT News.
And our mission for you, the listener, is to move beyond just, listing his movie titles. We really want to dismantle the mechanics of his career. Like, how does an actor bridge the gap between a billion-dollar blockbuster spectacle and the quiet, often uncomfortable complexity of independent cinema? Because structurally, Hollywood is just not designed to let you do both.
No, not at all. And we also want to look at the psychology behind the man, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How did his off-screen authenticity, like his total rejection of the celebrity machine, actually create the on-screen magic we all connected with?
It's a fascinating paradox.
Okay, let's unpack this starting with the timeline.
Yeah.
Because the circumstances of his passing are generating a lot of noise online, and we really need to separate fact from friction right away.
We do.
So the statement released by his family confirms he died suddenly, peacefully, and surrounded by his family in Sydney.
Right, and we have to address the immediate rumor mill that spins up the second a statement like that drops.
Yeah, that's inevitable.
Because he was so public about his recent health battles, a massive portion of the internet just immediately assumed his aggressive blood cancer had returned.
Which is what everyone thought, yeah.
Exactly. But the family's statement and the medical context provided by The Guardian, they explicitly shut that door.
Completely.
His passing was entirely unexpected and completely unrelated to his previous illness. At the time of his death, Sam Neill was cancer-free.
Okay, I read that too, but I have to push back just a little here.
Sure, go ahead.
When someone undergoes aggressive treatment for a severe blood cancer, and doesn't compromise their system long-term, is it possible the family is just protecting his privacy regarding how weak his body might have been?
Well, it is a totally logical question, but the medical consensus detailed in these reports suggests otherwise. To really understand this, we need to look at what he actually fought.
Right.
Back in 2023, he was diagnosed with stage 3 angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma.
Which just sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
But what is that, mechanically speaking?
Simply put, T cells are essentially the tactical commanders of your immune system.
Okay.
They are the white blood cells that identify threats and organize the attack. In this specific, incredibly rare form of lymphoma, those commanders mutate. They go rogue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they start gathering in the lymph nodes, and your body's own defense network essentially turns into the enemy.
That sounds incredibly aggressive.
It is fast-moving and aggressive. But the crucial piece of evidence shutting down the rumor mill is his recent clinical trial in Australia.
Right. He had just celebrated being in remission a few months ago.
Exactly.
The Guardian covered how robust he was feeling. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving on this new experimental drug.
He was doing incredibly well.
And he documented this whole brutal process with this deeply wry humor in a memoir. It was brilliantly titled, Did I Ever Tell You This?
Which is just such a great title. And writing a book while actively facing down a terminal diagnosis is a huge psychological feat.
I can't even imagine.
It requires you to look at your life without the filter of ego. You don't have the luxury of pretending to be someone you are not when you are, hooked up to an IV.
Yeah, you really don't.
He was actively looking forward to the future, which is exactly why this news is so jarring.
It really is. It feels like watching someone finish a grueling uphill marathon against this rare cancer, crossing the finish line, totally victorious, only to have the race end abruptly for a completely different reason.
That's exactly what it feels like.
It's a harsh emotional whiplash.
The timing is undeniably tragic. But look at the thematic thread connecting his approach to that cancer and his approach to his career.
Okay.
Facing mortality strips away artifice. It clarifies your core values. And the pragmatism, the total lack of vanity, and the quiet grit he showed during his treatment, that wasn't a new development.
No, not at all.
That was the exact same mechanical approach he used to navigate Hollywood for 4 decades.
That's a great point. Let's pivot to that Hollywood navigation then, because I was looking at the timeline of 90s action heroes.
Oh, yeah.
You had these massive, muscle-bound guys,
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Willis. They were the template.
The standard action guys.
Right. And then you have Steven Spielberg's 1993 masterpiece, Jurassic Park. And right in the center of it is Neill's Dr. Alan Grant.
Yep.
It seems to me he was a total anomaly. Am I reading too much into that, or did he actually invent a new archetype?
You are absolutely onto something. What's fascinating here is how the Hollywood casting mechanism usually functions. Studios are essentially banks,
Yep.
and massive films are high-risk loans.
That makes sense.
To mitigate that risk, they pigeonhole actors into safe, predictable lanes. You are the bankable action star, or you are the brooding indie actor.
You don't really mix the two.
Exactly. Crossing those streams breaks the risk model. Neill shattered it.
Because he didn't play an action hero. He played a competent professional who was, frankly, incredibly annoyed by the action.
Precisely. Think about the mechanics of his acting in that film. Before Sam Neill, scientists in cinema were cheap tropes.
Oh, totally.
They were either the wild-haired eccentric or they were the hyper-detached cold figure in a lab coat. Neill brought a rugged, physical pragmatism to the role.
He really did.
He doesn't act heroic. In fact, if you watch his body language, he plays Grant as someone who explicitly prefers dead bones to living creatures.
Yes.
And who is deeply uncomfortable around children.
But when the T-Rex breaks through the fence, his instinct to protect those kids is immediate.
Instantaneous.
And it doesn't feel like a movie star doing a stunt. It feels like a real guy doing what just has to be done.
Yeah.
He essentially created the reluctant action scientist template.
He did. And Hollywood has tried and largely failed to replicate that ever since.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the reason others fail is that they try to act reluctant. Neill used a very specific technique, which is stillness.
Stillness, right?
He didn't indicate his emotions to the camera. If he was studying a triceratops leaf, he just studied the leaf.
Yeah.
That lack of performative vanity made the extraordinary circumstances around him feel terrifyingly real.
Which makes his versatility completely mind-bending. The retrospectives highlight this wild whiplash in his filmography.
Oh, it's wild.
How do you go from dodging velociraptors in a massive family blockbuster to starring in Event Horizon, which is a terrifying, deeply psychological sci-fi horror film,
Seriously scary movie.
and then somehow jump into Jane Campion's The Piano, which is this sweeping, critical indie masterpiece?
It acts like a mechanical clutch in a manual transmission vehicle.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, if you try to shift gears from a massive franchise to an intimate indie drama by changing your core persona, you grind the gears.
Right.
The audience just doesn't buy it. Neill's clutch was his absolute lack of ego. In Piano, he plays Alastair Stewart.
Right, I remember.
The character is repressed, complex, and capable of extreme darkness. It is miles away from Alan Grant's warmth, but he brought the exact same grounded weight to both.
Here's where it gets really interesting, that on-screen groundedness we keep talking about.
Yeah.
The ability to just exist in a scene without performing. It wasn't just an acting technique you learn in a studio. The sources make it very clear that this was a direct reflection of his actual daily private life.
This tackles a major misconception about his legacy, actually.
Tell me about it.
Because he anchored one of the highest-grossing franchises in cinematic history, the natural assumption is that he was a Hollywood insider.
A guy who lived in Los Angeles, went to the Power Lunches, right?
Exactly, and played the celebrity game to maintain his status.
But I have to wonder, didn't he risk completely tanking his career by running in the opposite direction? Hollywood is built on proximity. Out of sight is supposed to mean out of mind.
You would think so. Conventional wisdom dictates that if you aren't visible, you aren't castable.
Yeah.
But Neill's career proves that scarcity can be a massive asset if the work is undeniable. He actively eschewed self-promotion.
He did.
He felt most at home thousands of miles away from a red carpet.
Specifically on a farm in New Zealand.
Yep.
These retrospectives detail how he managed his two paddocks vineyard. He was a dedicated environmentalist. He was an artisan winemaker.
And a farmer, essentially.
Yeah, he literally named his farm animals after his famous friends and would post these incredibly dry, lighthearted updates about them online.
Which is just amazing. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it explains the very mechanism of his on-screen appeal.
How so?
There is a concept in filmmaking that the camera lens acts as a lie detector. If a 70mm lens is 2 inches from your face, it captures micro-expressions. If you live a highly curated, artificial life in Hollywood, you carry a certain tension.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot hide it.
So because he was out shoveling a pig pen or tending to grapevines at dawn, he brought a totally different physical reality to his roles.
Exactly. When you are engaged in the tactile, uncontrollable reality of farming, you develop a physical grounding.
You're really connected to the earth.
Yes. When he stepped onto a movie set, he didn't have to manufacture authenticity. He imported it directly from his daily life.
Wow.
That quiet craftsmanship was forged in a beautifully ordinary existence.
Imagine being at the center of the biggest movie franchise in the world, and your immediate instinct is to reject the ego of it and go make wine.
It's incredible.
It's the ultimate paradox. By strictly separating his home life from the industry, he actually became more accessible. He felt like someone you could trust.
Definitely.
And you can see the direct result of that trust in the tributes pouring out today.
The industry reactions compiled by the LA Times are so revealing because of the specific language being used.
What are they saying?
Well, when Hollywood elites pass away, the tributes often focus on box office numbers or awards. But here, the focus is entirely on his character.
Right.
Steven Spielberg released a statement calling him an extraordinary actor whose intelligence, warmth, and humanity elevated every scene he was in.
Let's break down that phrase, elevated every scene.
Okay.
Because Spielberg isn't just throwing out a casual compliment. What does that mean mechanically for a director?
It means Neill acted as an anchor. In a scene with heavy special effects or high emotional melodrama, an actor who tries to steal the spotlight unbalances the frame.
Right, they pull focus.
Exactly. Neill gave his scene partner something incredibly solid and real to react to. He absorbed the energy of a scene and grounded it.
That makes perfect sense.
Nicole Kidman echoed this exactly in her tribute, praising his immense generosity on set and calling him a true treasure. The recurring theme isn't just talent, it's decency.
And that decency translated directly to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
What really struck me in reading through all these sources is the generational span of that audience.
Oh, it's huge.
Older demographics obviously know him from The Piano or the original Jurassic Park, but he didn't just coast on 90s nostalgia.
Not at all.
Younger viewers discovered him through completely different modern avenues.
That's the beauty of his late career choices. A whole new generation knows him as the terrifying, morally compromised Inspector Campbell in Peaky Blinders.
Oh, he was so good in that.
So good. Or they recognize him from his intricate political maneuvering in The Tudors. He was never frozen in time as just one character.
So what does this all mean? We live in an entertainment landscape that is fractured beyond belief. You watch one streaming service, I watch another. We are all in our own algorithm bubbles.
Yeah, everyone's fragmented.
Finding an actor who acts as a true unifying force, someone who bridges the gap between a 70-year-old cinephile and a 20-year-old binge watcher, is almost statistically impossible today.
It is rare because it requires an actor to be driven by curiosity rather than brand management.
Yes.
He took roles because they were interesting, not because they served a demographic target. And while that specific guiding force is gone, the film world is already mobilizing to fill the void he leaves behind.
Yeah, according to the updates from URBT News, we are going to see a massive wave of retrospectives.
Which will be wonderful to see.
There will be special screenings of his classic films programmed in the coming weeks and months. His final legacy projects will continue to roll out, and for those who want to track how his work will be celebrated, URBT News has a dedicated newsletter keeping fans informed on those developments.
It is a small comfort, but a real one. That film is permanent. The man has passed, but the architecture of his career remains intact for us to study and enjoy.
It really is. To wrap up what we've unpacked for you today, Sam Neill represented this profound, beautiful duality.
He really is.
He proved that you could achieve massive global stardom without ever sacrificing your dignity, your humanity, or your sense of humor.
Perfectly said.
He bridged the gap between billion-dollar blockbusters and intimate art house cinema just by being undeniably himself. And thanks to the incredible body of work he left behind, Dr. Alan Grant will go right on teaching new generations of children to look at the natural world with absolute wonder.
That is a remarkable legacy to leave behind. And as we close out today, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Let's hear it.
We have just spent the last 20 minutes breaking down how Sam Neill built a legendary career by essentially rejecting the modern machinery of fame.
Right.
He stayed rooted in the dirt of his farm with his animals, making his wine. It makes you wonder, in an age where emerging actors are constantly pressured by studios to build personal brands, to live their lives online, and to curate every public moment, is the era of the truly grounded artisan actor like Sam Neill gone forever?
That's a tough question.
Or will audiences, exhausted by the artificiality of the algorithm, eventually demand a hard return to that kind of unfiltered, quiet authenticity?
That is a fantastic heavyweight question to ponder as we remember a true titan of the screen. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the life and legacy of Sam Neill. Take care of yourselves and keep looking at the world with a bit of wonder today.